Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu unserer 4. Ausgabe Chat with Funky Space. Ich freue mich sehr auf heute, auf diese Ausgabe. Und es ist mir heute ein Anliegen, dass ich meine Kollegin Toni in dem Prozess begleite und beschreibe, indem sie langsam sich in Trance bewegt. Für alle Zuhörer da draußen, das war für mich heute an erster Stelle stehend, dass ich da transparent nach außen schildere, was hier an meinem Wohnzimmertisch vonstatten geht. Wie das viele von euch bestimmt kennen, ist so ein in Trance sich begeben ein sehr eigenständiger Prozess. Ich sehe neben mir, sie konzentriert sich sehr. Und in dem Moment, wo sie in Trance geht, sprich auch in Trance sich schon befindet, meines Erachtens, wurde mir übermittelt, wird sie als Person mit Milady angesprochen, und ich möchte diese Begriffe auch übernehmen hier an dieser Stelle. Dann ist mir wichtig, heute viele Fragen stellen zu können, und mit diesem Vorhaben gehe ich in diese heutige Sitzung hinein und freue mich, euch teilhaben lassen zu können. Wenn es jetzt noch momenteweise ein bisschen still ist, dann gehört das noch zum Teil des sich Einmittens, der wie ein Kanal finden. Aber meines Erachtens ist die Stimmung hier in diesem Raum schon recht, bevölkert. Ich für mich spüre auch immer, dass es warm wird. Ein bisschen, ich wie warme Hände bekomme. Ja, und wenn die Dimension, die Energie, die Kraft aus dieser Matrix heraus sich meldet, möchte ich Sie herzlich willkommen heißen.
Hello world, hello again, Space Radio today again, Pirate Radio. It's always so funny to be back, and to talk also to the world and to human beings. And I know that many people have also questions down there. And I know that you have a lot of questions today. We can feel everything because, as I told already, we can feel the mathematics. We know if people think, we know if people dream. We know if people are writing something, or if they are excited, or we can feel everything in mathematics. So I know that today the lady sitting next to me has a lot of questions. And yes, you can start. Yes, I know you already since many months, and so I know that it's always funny also to talk to you. Yes, and I know that the world wants to hear a lot of things. So you can start to ask your question, please.
Ja, ganz herzlichen Dank. Auch ist das wunderbar. So habe ich mir das fast schon angedacht.
Ja, das Space Radio.
Ja, das Space Radio schon bereit steht für uns. Lieben Dank. Und ich komme nochmal mit grundlegenden Fragen. Wer sind Sie? Können Sie das in kurzen und knappen Worten wiedergeben, damit wir hier auf diesem terrestrischen Planeten Erde die Maßeinheiten eine gewisse Kenntnis erfahren von dem, was spricht wirklich durch. Ich höre die Mathematik, die Sie immer wieder gerne betonen, ist die Mathematik das zugrunde liegende Gesetz der Erde, durch das Sie wie als Quintessenz sprechen können. Dann Fragen an die Kommunikation durch Milady. Sie sagten mir in einer vorangegangenen Sitzung persönlicher Art, dass das sehr wichtig ist, dass die Welt auch weiß, dass diese Möglichkeiten der Kommunikation und auch des Wiedergebens, dieser Sprache nicht für jedermann zugänglich ist, sondern nur für Persönlichkeiten vorherbestimmt ist, so hatte ich sie verstanden, die einen gewissen Reifegrad erreicht haben und auch eine gewisse Frequenz aufweisen.
Yeah. It is sometimes difficult to understand down there, because you have to imagine that as soon as Milady is getting into trance, she's getting in a completely new sphere of mathematics and of formula, of colors, of frequencies, and even looking to a person when she's in trance or sitting a person next to her, she can understand the whole body, the whole thing about it in mathematics. And it's a translation which is impossible for people to know on Earth, even if you have many of machines and you're creating also a lot of technology. It's not something that people can do it with computers. It's impossible. You have machines or computers which can send or are working on frequency, but this is completely something different because it has a consciousness too, and that's what you have to know. You have also, and I talked also in previous sessions about it, the artificial intelligence has no chance in the future either, because you have to imagine, if you put something with the number 0 and 1, you just get a different and let me say an output which is completely different as the output we know. That's why also some difficulties will just come up in your world, but I will talk later on about that. The question you asked me, it's that you have to imagine it's like getting a big screen with numbers and also adjusting numbers. So adjusting, I mean, you know, it's like when you read a book down there, you see numbers, or you see how you call it, letters.
Yes.
And for us everything is a number, you know, but these numbers have a completely different outcoming. These numbers have a completely different source. We can change it as well, you know. It's impossible to understand that, but you have to imagine it's like playing something and you say, okay, there is a rule, and if something is not good enough, we just change the numbers, but it's something you can't understand. And the numbers do have a frequency, the numbers do have, and also animals in your world, they just live differently as human beings. The animals, they smell numbers, and it's difficult to understand smelling, and it's completely different. And Milady, she has this like, it's like an antenna getting, you know, this frequency and transform this in words and sentences. And it's difficult also for her sometimes, and I told already other times about that, to find the word to explain it that you can understand it down there. It is we are not people up here, you know. We are not. We are really frequency. We are always there. We can see, and it's not a touching something, but it's really having the knowledge of numbers. And going back in your history, I told that also in other sessions. People had at that time they had a different going into trance. Milady has just also different going into trance. They are all still tribes, or when you use your trucks down there, you go into a trance world, you know, you see colors and all that, and you are looking like getting into something which is impossible to know for others. And Milady doesn't have to take drugs for that. She's just going into trance and has this knowledge of the numbers and of the speaking out of numbers and information. And all tribes in your world, they did that too. They had this antenna out, if I can say it like that. They had this knowledge of transforming. And I really go back in decades. And it's something which has gone, you know, and really looking back also to the tribe of the Egyptian and also the tribe of Maya. They had this knowledge. And they could also get the information how to build things. And that's why sometimes people say, how could they build something which is impossible to build today? They had just a different knowledge of numbers and, you know, also the power of the numbers as well. And the world history, you know, if there are always people doing things like that, but it was always also very difficult for them to be understand. And still today it's something that many people people in your world think that it has something to do with being a witch or something like that. That's not that. Milady has also, she can transform, or she sees also numbers which are used, I have to explain it like that, used in medicine, used in, people are looking technically to support the body with medication. But also adjusting numbers can help a lot, because the world and also human being will have other disease in the world, and still today your doctors down there, they have difficulties to find out or to bring up a medication for some issues. When Milady when she had in the past also sessions with other people, it is the transformation of mathematics that give her an answer on what is going on also in the body of somebody, or it's difficult to explain, because in your world everything which is black and white, it's existing, and in our world we can see just as I told, it's a screen of numbers, and we can see also back and also in the future. That's why it's so magic to see, okay, this is going wrong and this is going fine, and to adjust also some things. But it's also the will of human beings, which have also the possibility to do things, but for the best, not, I mean, it will be good for the world if every day and every human being will do something for the best, yeah.
So lieb, danke schön. Ja, also von meiner Seite kann ich für heute bestätigen, dass Milady mit Drogen keine Berührung hatte, sondern wir hier am Tisch sitzen und Trauben, Datteln und ein bisschen Snacks rumliegen haben, die uns ernähren während der Sitzung hier. Das wirklich von meiner irdischen Seite hier. Dann ja, auch danke für diesen Hinweis Richtung Frequenz zu denken. Ich denke, das gibt den Menschen auf der Erde ein bisschen eine Orientierung, in welcher Art man sich das vorstellen kann, wenn die Vorstellung soweit auch vermag zu denken. Aber Frequenzen kennen wir überall im technischen Bereich, aber wir wissen heute auch, dass wir die Nahrungsmittel mit Frequenzen messen können, die Energie davon etc. Also das sind Einheiten, mit denen können wir umgehen. Darum danke.
Yes, I'm sorry to just say that as well, we don't have food, like you have down there, or we just don't have a big dinner or things like that. But what we can see in your world is also food explained in energy, or food explained in frequency, what is healthy and what's not healthy, and also some disturbance in the body. So it would be so interesting also to speak with doctors, because we can see the world in a human being and all the disease completely different. And there is always also a key to get, knowledge also for doctors down there, because in the future, and I really need to say that it's an idea which people say it's not possible, but with frequency you can do a lot and good also for the human body, and also for a disease which still are unknown, but in the I will say frequency or number table, or we can go forward also in countries and see what kind of disease are breaking up there, or what kind of people will have what kind of disease, because it's everything mathematically already written. And so it is impossible for you to understand how it goes, but it's a completely different it's a completely different sphere, as I told already before. Yes, excuse me if I just tell it again, but that the people can understand. It's something so magnific being in this. Let me say, it's like it's like a playground of numbers. Ja,
wunderschön beschrieben. Ich danke Ihnen.
Yes.
Wunderschön, wirklich. Ich denke, mit dem können wir heute sehr viel anfangen. Wir haben so viel bildgebende Materialien, Medien, die wir tagelang anschauen, ganze Filme, die wir uns auf gut Deutsch reinziehen, weil wir schon fast süchtig sind nach diesen Bildern, nach diesen Emotionen, sprich auch im Körper nach diesen Frequenzen. Und somit, ja, ich begrüße einfach dieses Space Radio, um ja, kommunizieren zu dürfen mit Ihnen. Wenn wir in der Geschichte zurückgehen, Galileo Galilei beschrieb die Mathematik, das Alphabet, mit dessen Hilfe Gott das Universum beschrieben hat, wunderbar ausgedrückt. Ja, was hat er weiter auch geprägt, was uns heute noch so geläufig ist? Eppur si muove. Und sie dreht sich doch. So, also all diese Ansätze, ich denke, auf der Welt gab es das immer. Und wir haben auch heute sehr viele Menschen auf der Erde, die danach suchen, auch in der Forschung. Es wird gesucht, gerade im frequenziellen Bereich wird geforscht, gesucht. Nach beweglichen Teilen, weiß ich heute, wird gesucht. Es wurden auch schon bewegliche Teile gefunden.
Yes. What I can say on that, what you're saying or explaining to your world is that as I told already in previous sessions, the world is a fireball. You see it as a fireball, and I think, or I know you are describing it also as a fireball. But we see, it completely in different. I know that you call it statistically, you have to write everything down, and we see completely a different statistic, and sometimes we're also laughing about that, and I'm sorry to say laughing that you think that mathematics can last, but it's like this intelligence that we have, or numbers are, it's so completely different that what you have problems in your world, and we know it since many decades that you will have those problems, because it is something which is it's like adjusting also things down there, but it's also the will which you have, and it's also how I should say that, it's like the world is getting, or the universe is always getting into bubbles, and I said that I think last time. It's getting into bubbles, and these bubbles do have also, they express forces, they express material, they express information, and what you can see, or the pictures that you can make down there on your earth with your technology, is just I would say just the big thing, but you can enter in this big thing. You see that they are colors, you see the movements, but all these movements do have an energy, and this energy does have a frequency, and it's that what we can explain, and we see also. So going in your earth, in this fireball, we can explain the energy and frequency. So we know also about earthquakes, we know also about fire. On Earth, because we have all these numbers, and this is the meaning of speaking about this mathematics. So it was always there, but it was always so a surprising thing that people couldn't reach this knowledge down there. They could imagine that something has a logic, but they couldn't explain the logic, and this logic is something that having this frequency, you just enter in this logic. You're part of it, and that's why Milady has this can do this translation, which is also difficult because you have to understand that people which have a degree down there have a different knowledge. They name something by their name, and we name it by or we know the mathematics, and we have to name it that you can understand what we mean. And to mean something or to explain something which goes into your future, it's something difficult because you still don't know it. And you are looking on the bag down there, you're looking on what you had already on Earth, and you are looking in the future completely different as we do because we know it already. And for you down there as human beings, it's something so difficult to explain and difficult also to calculate. And your calculation down there is made on statistics, and over calculation is there, and we know, and when I say or we talk about adjusting something, it is also to prevent more danger and also to prevent things which, because a fireball has always also a lot of forces, and I talked also about the forces of nature. Yeah. And what I mean with that is I'm talking about forces and mathematics of nature as well. So this is because nature is in everything. So mathematics is in nature, also in a tree, on earth, in water, in everything, and energy is also human being or animals. So it is the complexity which gives us this meaning of translate what is going on. Yes, I know it's difficult to understand because it is really getting into a new sphere of mathematics and not knowing what it is. For you down there, for us, it's completely something normal. Yeah. It's intelligence in numbers, yes. Yeah. Secret intelligence in numbers, yes, if I can say it like that, yes.
Ja, wirklich. Ich denke, das lässt uns ahnen, das gibt uns einen wie Anstoß, in welche Richtung wir denken dürfen und das aufnehmen dürfen. Und ja, natürlich sind diese Fragen, die Beschaffenheit, was sind die grundlegenden Bausteine der Welt, das waren immer Teilstücke, die Menschheit immer schon, ich denke seit Urbeginn, das was wir haben, das haben wir auf sicher. Es ist so ein Urhabitus, damit umzugehen und die Sicherheit zählen und messen zu können. Und das, was Sie uns ein bisschen meines Erachtens vermitteln, ist, es ist wie eine Quintessenz, um es mit den Worten von Johann Wolfgang von Goethe auszudrücken, was die Welt im Innersten zusammenhält. Es ist eine solch überdimensionale Kraft, die wir nicht...
It's not imaginable, or you can't imagine this force, and you can't imagine the frequency of this force, and this is what we know, and we have, it's like over it's also down there on Earth, but it's like over breeze, and for you it's your breeze that you can see, and you're talking about breeze, and also when human beings are dying, you see the breeze, and you see that the body is not breathing anymore. So it is just this frequency, these numbers getting out of a body. So if I can say it like that, and bones to have also frequency, blood does have frequency, everything has a frequency, and so there is the human being in flesh and blood, but there is also a tree which has just a completely how you call it, the material are different, but what we can see is also frequency and colors and numbers, so in everything. And I know human beings down there, they would never make a picture about a tree in numbers, so you have to imagine that. So yes, it's like seeing a tree in numbers, yes, and have these numbers, and it's not always the same number. That's also important to say. So it's not that every human being has same numbers, or you say, well, you are number one or you're number two. It's a complexity, and in this complexity, if the number are not adjusted, we can see if there is something wrong in the body. It's something, and every human being has completely a different constellation of numbers, and also different frequency in numbers. So that also your how you call it, DNA in your world is completely different as what we know, because there are much more than that, and that's just something. Also the knowledge down there in your world is to our knowledge, it's I'm so sorry to say it like that, it's very low, and it's because it's just a part that you have to know in your world. If everybody would already be so far in frequency, that will be a chaos down there. And when I go back in times and I told about these tribes, but they were also high frequenced and they could communicate. But if you have people right now on Earth which would have this high sensibility of frequency, it will be much more a danger than something good, because some would just take it in a different, transport it in a different knowledge, and transport it to different information. So it's also something, I would really say like holy as well, if I can say it like that, because it's not a game, it's not a game. We are not gaming. It's not something that, it is the book, as I told already other times, it's a book which is written, human beings to have their will, and we can adjust if it's not going to something which breaks the world down. So it's not something that people say, well, just adjust my numbers on my bank account. That's not the will of energy and of numbers and mathematics. It's the whole world. And when I talked also about other things which are going on right now, things will also happen just to get, let me say, well, nature adjusts a lot, I need to say it like that. Nature adjusts a lot,
Ich bin berührt von Ihrem Gestus ein weiteres Mal. Ich darf Sie verstehen, dass Sie quasi Ihre Geste wie einen verlängerten Arm reichen zu uns Menschen hier auf der Erde. Ist das auch zu verstehen als Hilfestellung heute, weil diese Frequenz laut Ihren Angaben auch so niedrig geworden ist, weil die Gravitationskräfte laut auch Ihren Angaben sich verändern, und wenn wir hier auf der Erde links und rechts nur schauen, es ist wirklich überall bemerkbar, Wasser, Überschwemmungen, wir haben Überschwemmungen, wir hatten jetzt gerade vor etwa 2 Wochen einen heftigen ein Erdbeben sondergleichen, was die Richterskala fast gesprengt hat an Ausschlag. Wir haben teilweise dass die Gebirge sich sehr verändern, Gletscherschwund etc. Also es verändert sich sehr, sehr stark in der Natur. Darf ich das verstehen, dass Sie quasi zu dieser Zeit auch sich wirklich für uns Menschen mit dazu schalten?
I have to explain it like that. It's as I told already, that the world is a fireball, and there is all these 4 natural forces which are showing up differently in the last years. But it was always there in the world, But there was a world where there were no people, no human beings, no a lot of animals and a lot of plants. It was always there. And a lot of things are still unknown also for human beings. So you have to imagine that because you are in the 21st century and you have technology and you think that you just know all the secrets of the world. We have much more, and not everything is known to you. And people in old times and in history, or they knew also about other things. And what we can also tell you is that all the tribes which have been in the world before, they had their own logic to understand the forces, and to understand and to give also a picture to others and to learn about it. And what's today in your world is that you put, and you just want to have a frequency of if there is an earthquake, or if there is the water is coming up to the world, or if you transform the information and you put it into technology to understand it. But there is still, as I told before, just a small knowledge of that, because now also with gravity, this information are getting different, and the world is not prepared for that. So the world is transforming and knowing the information from the past and what is going on now, but they can't explain the forces in the future. And in the future, the forces are different. So also everything which people are writing down right now as a scientist, and they think that it goes on like that, it will be different because gravity gives other forces, gravity gives other information, and that's what people doesn't know. So also for scientists, and I told already in a session that it's like having also other information in what is going on with your body, what is going on in your daily life, what is going on, when you just walk on the streets. It's something like having right now a limitation in your world, that you, or not a limitation, how I can explain it. You are walking, for example, and I know that you say, well, you can run, you can walk slow, you can have a fast speed, you have all that in your world, and it goes in a bubble of, let me say, speed 20. But now you have to understand that this bubble is getting into a speed 50. And in a speed 50, a human being can't walk and run and do the same thing like in this bubble 20. So the information also for the body, for the blood, for everything, for your daily life, for food, for consumption of everything will be different. So it must be, it's like have a different adaptation for the body and also for medicine and everything which is going on. And this is something which people doesn't know, because your scientists down there, they have the knowledge of this bubble 20. Yeah. And so this is something that you can call it like you want, but because there is still no name for that. It is also to understand the forces which cause also gravity, which are completely different and which is unknown, and to know the numbers. So if you know the mathematics behind and the frequency, you can help. That's what I want to say with that. We can help and say, okay, just don't do that because it will not work, because it will not work in the bubble 50. It worked in the bubble 20, but it will not work in the bubble 50. And it's also knowledge that people need to know, and it's also that that's what I want to explain also, is that if people are open to listen, they will have, it's like being a little bit more conform also in this bubble 50, if you have the knowledge what you can do, what is possible and what's not. Because if we see, and I have to explain it like that you want to construct a lot of houses and hotels and whatever you have down there on an island, because you think that will be the future, and we just tell you, well, in 2 years this island is not existing anymore, because the gravity goes on, it's working in bubble 50. It's a completely different speed. It's also money that you throw away. It's also a completely misunderstanding of, it's just like there are other problems in the world to be resolved, instead of just building things. If we can just tell you, don't do it over there because it will be underwater. So it's this what we want to explain also to the world. The knowledge of frequency and numbers gives you also the support of what you can. It's not that we tell people what you will and what you can do. You have your own will, but we want to support people with this knowledge of mathematics that is so important in the future. And it's also the knowledge of the 21st century. It's like the old one is gone. It's like when you look back in history and you say, well, that was in the Middle Age. Sometimes we call it also Stone Age, I told you. And now it's like, okay, you're entering, or you're in the 21st century, and the natural forces are different. So it gives also a different picture to the world, what is possible and what's not. And it's like also building up or putting new technology in your world. And we say, well, the future generation has this already, everything in their body, in their mind. They can't just talk like I talk today to you. It's something that people can't understand right now. And also the prime material, as I told already in a further, in a previous session, excuse me. You know, it's not that everything will be there, because with gravity a lot of prime material will be gone. So you have to understand that you can build your world completely different, and also be different, because it will be a difference for human beings, yes. I know it's not that making people afraid about something, as I told already. It's just a changement as well, and this is what is needed for you down there, that you take this help, yes, and this is something that, you know, the universe is not just having stars and looking at the stars and being romantic. It's really also thinking about what is the future, yes.
Ja, das haben Sie allerdings schon erwähnt in einer vorherigen Sitzung, dass es um eine Veränderung geht und nicht um Panikmache als solche. Ich denke, das ist auch ein ganz wichtiger Kernsatz, den man wirklich verteilen und teilen darf, über dieses Space Radio vermittelt. Das ist etwas, was mich erinnert an den Ausspruch von Saint-Exupéry, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, der auch so eine wunderbare Erzählung geschrieben hat über einen kleinen Prinzen, der auf einem Planeten ganz alleine landet. Und einer dieser Sätze spricht das so aus: Man sieht nur mit dem Herzen gut. Und wenn ich Ihnen zuhöre, dann habe ich einfach diese Erfahrung immer wieder, dass ich merke, Sie sprechen den ganzen Menschen an. Die Menschheit als solches.
The dimension. It's the dimension of what we're talking about. It's the dimension of what is possible and what is not possible, you know. And what we can see and feel also about human beings is that the logic is sometimes so going into the wrong direction as well. And this wrong direction is also that it's like stopping different other things in the world, and it's creating more problem than going on with no problems. And this is something that, as I told, also nature will stop a lot of things, will just also transform things, that many things just have to stop, because if no, it would be just too dangerous for everybody down there. And it's you know, it's as I told in a previous session, we are this energy is lovely, and this energy wants to have also love down there, and a good-hearted people is always somebody which or person is all times a person which wants the best of everything. And going back in your times, in your world, you know, animals. Now you can say, well, you know, the big ones, they have eaten the small ones, and human beings were also so cruel at one time. But they were also different in their heart, you know, they were different, they had a different dimension and energy and knowledge also in their heart. That's what we want to say today. So looking also to human beings, we see this energy, and it's not always an energy that we have to say, well, I don't know how it goes on. It will be something interesting also in a further session which I can do, or talk with Space Radio. It's also something to know how people get criminal down there in your world, how people get bad, or also disease. You know, there are so many information that we can give you, and also that you, let me say, just adjust also the knowledge of it, you know. And it's not everything that you think that when it's written in your words, it is the right thing. I have to explain it like that. We have a different right thing, and it's much more than what you think. And that's what we want to explain. So if you put something on black on white, that's not always the true. And you think, or you're maybe, not maybe, it's the true for you, and you say, well, we are people and we are living right now in your world. but it's not the true for the whole thing, and it makes also things completely difficult also down there. It's not and we know well, we have to say it like that. A law which has been made in the 14th century is not the same thing today, and you have to adjust it. That's the same thing we are doing with the world or with the numbers, you know. And it's not like, okay, just give us sun every day because we need sun just to that we have food all the time. But there are other places in the world they have the same problem, or they have a different problem to be resolved. And the mathematics goes on in the way it will go on. It's not the mathematics that you have to put on that it works. That's also something that you need to know, that mathematics works for its reason and also for its knowledge and also for the outcoming for everything, for the whole world, you know, and not just for a country or for a community. And that's why when things happen in the world, it's always somewhere else, but this is also the energy which cause, you know, these problems as well.
Oh, danke schön. Ja, Sie haben das nochmal so reichhaltig beschrieben, diese Qualität. Es geht um Qualitäten, die Sie uns auch vermitteln. Um Qualitäten, die wir wieder lernen dürfen, die wir hören dürfen, die wir wahrnehmen dürfen. Wir sind Menschen mit 5 Sinnen.
We have much more. That's why, excuse me to say it, that's what we can. Well, as I told you, we are not human beings. We are energy. We are in everything, and this energy transform also frequency. And the lower the energy, and that's what also it's going on in many places in your world. The lower the energy, the frequency is also different and cause also problems. Yes. So it is a construct of everything. That's what I want to say with that. So it's not that, you know, in one session people understand the whole universe.
Oh ja, das wäre schön, aber ich denke...
It's too complicated. It's like something which doesn't go into brains to understand it, you know.
Ja, wenn ich hier sitze, so einfach an meinem Wohnzimmertisch, neben mir sitzt Milady, und ich bemerke einfach die enorme Konzentration, die durch Milady von ihr ausgeht. Das ist ganz, ganz enorm, und es ist so eine schon fast fühlbare Wärme in dem Moment, wo hier gesprochen wird über diese Dimension, über die Matrix. Ich denke, aus dem Grund kam mir das auch, dieser Ausspruch von Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, dieses man sieht nur mit dem Herzen gut, es ist wie eine Frequenz, die vom Herzen ausgeht, somit wie unsere 5 Sinne etwas sprengt, würde ich fast meinen.
We push it up, yes. We push your energy up. Genau. We push you. We bring you more energy into your heart that you can understand what we mean. Yes, yes. It's hot stuff, if I can say it like that. Yeah. I have also to talk with the world, you know, with human beings. So because it's something so extremely high. It's high definition. If you would have a machine next to me, it wouldn't work. It's really high energy. Yes, yeah.
So spannend.
But it's not interrupting something. So it's a lovely high energy.
Yeah,
yes, but you can't marry me. I'm sorry to say it like that. Yes,
das ist wunderschön.
So hot stuff energy. Yeah.
Wie wunderbar beschrieben.
Yes.
Herrlich. Ja,
wow.
Ich denke, das nimmt die Welt gerne, das Universum. Ganz lieben Dank.
Yes, thank you so much. We are always happy to talk to Space Radio, and it's like being, you know, something so special. It's getting like being a star, you know. It's like yes, it's like, well, you have more stars now in your world, so you have your scientists can check out, you know, where we are, or yes, and what we do. Yes.
So, wunderbar.
Yes.
Ich kann nur von meiner Seite
Thank you so much.
anfügen, dass ich in dem Moment wirklich den Eindruck bekomme, es funkelt in meinem Wohnzimmer.
You don't get a fire. That's what I want to say as well. Yes.
Und, ich schätze Ihren Humor unsäglich. An dieser Stelle mal zum Ausdruck gebracht, wirklich. Es ist wunderschön, mit Ihnen sprechen zu dürfen.
Thank you so much.
Und freue mich sehr auf
see you next time. Yes, thank you so much.
Lieben Dank.
And good luck to the world and to the human beings. So thank you very much. Bye bye.
Ich danke Ihnen.
Das waren funkelnde Neuigkeiten über Space Radio. Eure Liz
und Toni.